Our series of videos about how to work with eBird. In the first video we showed you how to open an account, and this time we're going to do the basic thing, how to submit your observations. So you've come back from a birding trip, you've got your notebook in front of you, and you're ready to submit observations. Remember, you can do this in French or in English. Your choice. Works the same way. Go to the tab on the top and click the Submit Observations tab, and you're taken to this page. It's going to ask you a few questions now about where you went birding and the amount of time you spent and the time of day and things like that. Just basic stuff which you've got in your notebook anyway. As you work with eBird, you'll gradually build up a list of personal locations. There's a drop-down list here, and you can just pick one of those. That's the easy way to do it. But the first time you go out, the first time you go to a place, you haven't got anything in your personal locations list, so they suggest that you find it on a map, and that's far and away the easiest. So we're in the Montreal area. Let's type in Montreal to focus the map and hit enter, and here we are. We can drag this map around. It's a standard Google map with eBird overlays on it. You'll notice that there are blue flags and red flags. The red flags are birding hotspots. These are ones which have been recognised by eBird as places which have good birding and which a large number of people go to, so they want to make sure that all the sightings for each of those places are recorded in a standard format. The blue ones are personal locations. These are ones which have not been recognised as hotspots, but they're places that you personally have been to. Other people may well have been there, and they'll have them on their eBird lists, but these are the ones you've been to. So, if you've been to, let's click one here, Rue Higgins on the South Shore. You could just click it and enter, or if you've been to a hotspot such as this one, the windmill on the eastern end of Ile Perrot, you can pick that. You can zoom in, you can drag around. You can create a new hotspot. You say you saw some birds on the McGill farm as you were driving across on the way up to the Arboretum. You can click. This is come up green. This is a new place. On the right, we'll type in the name of the location, and you would click continue. And then next time you enter birds, if you see any in that location, it will be a blue flag. It'll be a personal location for you. If you think it's a really hot spot, you can suggest it, and they will consider it. But let's suggest that we've been birding in the Morgan Arboretum. So we'll click that. Name comes up here. Click continue. I want to know the amount of effort you've put in. I want to know first of all the date these recordings were made. If it's today, I'm doing this on February the 4th. I just click February the 4th, but you pick a date. You know the way that these things work. What's another type of observation? This is important for the people who manage the database, so that they can work out their species data. So the most common would be a field trip. You've been travelling, you walked a specific distance, and you've come back to the car. Stationary, you've been birding in your garden or on the patio of a bar overlooking a river. You could be entering some historical data. You've got some stuff in your notebook from years ago. You can't quite remember all the details, but you know where it was, and you can make estimations. It could be an incidental sighting. You were driving down the highway when a snowy owl flew across the road in front of you. You weren't birding, but you think that's a worthy bird to report, so you could click that. And there's a few other specialist ones, such as going on pelagic trips or doing nocturnal flight call counts. But most often you're probably travelling. That's the commonest. You can use the 12 or 24 hour clock. This is set for 24 hour. So you say the start time. You started at 8 o'clock. You were out birding for 2 hours and 30 minutes, and in that time you walked 4 kilometres, or miles, you can change that if you prefer, and wants to know the size of your party. You were on a Bird Protection Quebec field trip and there were 15 people, you were by yourself, or you were with a friend. Let's say you were with a friend. And you can put in comments if you think they're relevant, so that you can say it was a particularly very hot day, no wind. It is entirely up to you. And you click continue. And then all it wants to do now is to know what birds you've seen. So you're presented with this checklist. This checklist will vary. It's different for each place. It's different for the time of year. So these are the birds you're most likely to have seen. You know, these are the common ones which you'd expect to see for the local checklist. So you're in the Arboretum. You saw a Cooper's hawk. Click and enter one. You saw a couple of ring-billed gulls flying over. That's not surprising. You saw 3 downy woodpeckers, 1 hairy and a pileated. And you saw 24 cedar waxwings. You can add more details if you think that's important. Click the Add Details button and you can say photographs available, and you can say there were 17 males, 4 females and 3 that you couldn't work out. That would be difficult for cedar waxwings, but you get the principle. You could even add Atlas breeding bird codes if it was relevant. It's entirely up to you. Okay. There are also options here for in the photographs, the detail section. If you actually got a photograph and it's available on something like Flickr or your own website, you can actually put the link in there and the picture will come up. And if it's a rare bird, that's very desirable. So you can enter the very basic, just enter the numbers. You saw some crows. You don't know how many. You saw 20 or you don't know how many. You can't quite remember. You forgot to write it down. You just put an X in. They don't like you to do that unless it's absolutely necessary, but at least it shows that there were crows in the area. But let's say there were 3 crows. Okay. You saw, what did you see? You saw a red-bellied woodpecker. That's possible in the Arboretum these days. Find the woodpeckers. Red-bellied's not there. So up here on the right we could add a species to the list and type it in. Red-bellied woodpecker, there it is. And it says, whoa, this is rare, are you sure? And you can say photographed seen in this location previously. So yeah, I really did see this. It's not a mistake. I genuinely saw that. And you just carry on like that until you put all the birds in for that trip. You click yes, you're submitting a checklist of all the birds that you saw, and you click the green submit button. It tells you the checklist has been submitted, asks you to review it carefully, make any necessary changes. Oh my goodness, I forgot that we saw a winter wren. Click Edit Species List. Let's go down and find the wrens. There it is. Saw a winter wren. It's been added to your list. There. Seen the cedar waxwings. Seen the red-bellied woodpecker. You made comments on it. Summarises your amount of effort. That's all there is. You don't have to do anything else at all. You can just, at this point, log off and go and pour yourself a beer or have a cup of coffee. And that's all there is to the basic entering observations. Thank you very much.